So when we're dividing polynomials, can anyone take a guess at what the purpose is? Like, for example, on this number 1 on the inside, why are we dividing x cubed plus 2x squared minus 7x minus 2 by x minus 2? What's the purpose?
To get x minus 2 out of the...
Yeah, why? Why?
To make it easier.
Okay, yes. So, if I were to take x minus 2 and put parentheses around it, what is this?
That.
Oh, it's a factor of this long polynomial. So, if you take a factor out, it makes a simpler polynomial that we can then factor some more to find the other factors. So the point of dividing is just another way to make it easier for you to solve these polynomials. It's like if they said, okay, I somehow found one of the factors to be x minus 2, find the other factors. Well, what you would do to make your life easy is divide it out. It's just another way to solve. Okay. And actually, I love division. I know you guys struggle at first because when was the last time you did long division? Yeah, long time ago, 5th grade.
Actually, I did it on the mock test.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, the PSAT, SAT.
Now we could use a calculator. And I was like,
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it'll come back to you slowly here. Long division. Now I'm going to read these steps off to you. Obviously, they're not going to make much sense as I'm reading them. They'll make more sense as we're applying it. But let me just read them off first. Step 1 for long division is to divide the first term of the dividend, which the dividend is the thing you're dividing, the thing inside your division house, by the first term of the divisor. The divisor is the thing you're dividing by. So in this problem, where'd it go? In this problem, this is your dividend, whereas this is your divisor. This is what you are dividing. This is what you're dividing by. Okay, it's just terminology. Do you really need to memorize that? No, but it's good to know. Step 2, multiply the divisor by the first term of the quotient. Now the quotient is what you're trying to get. It's your answer. Step 3, subtract the product from the dividend, then bring down the next term. Step 4, repeat step 2 through 4 to find the second term of the quotient. And then step 5, continue the process until a remainder is obtained. So like I said, this is probably all gibberish, but let's go ahead and try to apply it. All right. So this is our first example on the inside. What goes where?
X minus 2 on the outside.
Good. In my division house, which I really don't know
It's just...
the term of it. I call it the division house because it kind of looks like a house.
I forget what it's called, but it has a name to it.
So what you're dividing goes on the inside, and what you're dividing by goes on the outside. Okay, so what you're going to start doing is you look at the very first term of the thing you're dividing, the x cubed, and you're going to ask, what is x cubed divided by x? X squared. Now, you don't need to write this, but what happens when we're dividing variables with exponents? You subtract them. So there's an invisible what here?
1.
Always a 1. So what is 3 minus 1? So x cubed divided by x is x squared. So you're dividing the first term of your dividend by the first term of the divisor. So x cubed divided by x, and you're left with x squared. That is the first term of our quotient, the first term of our answer. I should be doing different colors here, huh? Okay. So now what you need to do, who remembers if I was dividing numbers here, what would you do?
Then you would like subtract something.
Not yet. So if I was dividing, say, 48 by 2. You divide, okay, what's 4 divided by 2? It's, what do you do now?
Multiply 2 times.
You multiply 2 times 2 and get 4 here. So same thing here. Multiply x squared times x, and what do you get? X cubed. If these match, it tells you you're doing this correctly. Okay? Then we have to make sure we're multiplying everything in our divisors. So we then multiply x squared times negative 2, and what do we get? Beautiful. So now over here, we multiplied. What do we do next from here?
Then you subtract.
Now we subtract. So do the same thing over here. We now, oh gosh. We now subtract. What is x cubed minus x cubed? 0. They cancel. Again, another checkpoint telling you you're doing this correctly. You are trying to get these to cancel, the first terms. Then, what is 2 minus negative 2? 2 minus negative 2 is 4. So, over here, 2 minus negative 2. What do the two negatives do to each other? They make a positive. So 2 minus negative 2 is the same thing as 2 plus 2, creating a 4x squared. Now, who remembers what to do? Bring down your next term. And you repeat the process all over again. So you ask yourself, this first term that we have after subtracting, the 4x squared, what is 4x squared divided by x? 4x. So that is our next term up here, 4x. We did 4x squared divided by x and got 4x. Then we multiply. 4x times x is how much? 4x squared. Okay, I know I'm doing this right because these match. What's 4x times negative 2? Negative 8x. And then we subtract again. 4 minus 4 is negative 7 minus negative 8. Positive 1x. Here, in these types of problems, it is very important that you're keeping your negatives straight. You have to remember it's negative 7 minus negative 8. The negative and the negative make this a positive 8. So it's actually negative 7 plus 8, which is 1. Then what do? Bring down your next term, which is negative 2. Now what? What is x divided by x? 1. Does everyone see how we got that? This first term is now x. So x divided by the divisor x is 1. So we put a plus 1 up here. Then we multiply. 1 times x is 1x. 1 times negative 2 is, and we're subtracting. X minus x is negative 2 minus negative 2. 0. Negative 2 minus negative 2 makes us a plus 2. So negative 2 plus 2 is, meaning we don't have a what? We have no remainder here. So what's our answer? X squared plus 4x plus 1, without a remainder. This is my quotient, it's called. So now from here, if you had been asked, okay, if it said x minus 2 is a factor of x cubed plus 2x squared minus 7x minus 2, find the other factors, you would first divide, then factor this quadratic. All right. Any questions so far? I hope I'm not going too fast.
So, is the reason why you have to divide first is because they kind of like took that factor and then like multiplied, like they like distributed it throughout the polynomial, and I have to like undo that.
Yeah, kind of. It's like you're asking, okay, how many x's go into x cubed? We're trying to take a factor of x out. So if you take one x out, you're left with two x's, or x squared. That's why we divide. Okay, next one. So inside of our division house goes 6x cubed plus 7x squared minus 16x plus 18, and then 2x minus 2 goes on the outside. What is our first step? Good. Yes, divide 6x cubed by 2x, and what do you get? Yes, 3x squared. Right? 6x cubed divided by 2x. You're subtracting the x's, so you're left with x squared, and then you're dividing 6 by 2, and you get 3. So 3x squared. Okay, now what? Multiply. So 3x squared times 2x is 6x cubed. Okay, I know I'm doing it right. Then 3x squared times negative 2. Beautiful. Negative 6x squared. Yes. Now what? Subtract them. 6x cubed minus 6x cubed is 0. Good. And 7x squared minus negative 6x squared. Right. The two negatives make this a positive. So it's 7x squared plus 6x squared, which is 13x squared. Now what? Good. Bring down the next term. And we repeat that whole process again. So we do 13x squared divided by 2x. Ooh. Okay, so we fixed our misprint. And we fixed our numbers inside here. So what is 7 minus 15? Negative. Negative 8, right? 7 minus 15 is negative 8x squared. Ooh, that works out a lot better. So now, what is negative 8x squared divided by 2x? Good, 4x. And what is 4x divided by 2x? I mean, sorry, 4x times 2x. My gosh, this should be negative 4x. Negative 4x times 2x is negative 8x squared. And then negative 4x times 5 is negative 20x. And then we subtract them. So what is negative 8x squared minus negative 8x squared? 0. And negative 16x minus negative 20x. 4. Good. And then what do? Bring down the last term, the 18. And what is 4x divided by 2x? So up here we put 2x. Oh, just 2. 4x divided by 2x is 2. And then what is 2 times 2x? 4x. And 2 times 5? 10. Then we're subtracting again. 4x minus 4x is 0. And 18 minus 10 is? So what do we have this time? A remainder. Now I know that you guys probably, when you were doing long division for whole numbers, you probably did a little r or a capital R or something. When we're dividing polynomials, this is how you write it. You do 3x squared minus 4x plus 2 plus your remainder, which is 8, over what you were dividing by, 2x plus 5. Right? Because what this is saying is we couldn't quite divide 2x minus 5 out of 8. So it's just 8 over 2x minus 5, or plus 5. Any questions? Sorry about the misprint. I know it kind of like slowed our roll and you guys got confused. You guys get it? All right. I think you can do the next one. However, there is a little tiny tricky part about it. What do you think is tricky about this one? There's only 3. Okay, why? What is missing? Oh, you're missing your plain x term. So when we're dividing, even though it's not there in our equation, in our polynomial, you need to put a placeholder. So 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 0x minus 18 divided by x minus 3. So you have to put a placeholder there. All right, you guys go ahead and try to solve this now. So what did you guys get as the answer here?
I did it right.
2x, sorry, I'm slow. 2x squared what? Then? And? Beautiful. That is the answer we should have gotten. Any questions on this one? Okay, I do want to show you, however, how to do the next one. It is just a tad bit trickier. So we start off the exact same way with x to the 4th minus 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then we have x squared minus 5 on the outside. So how do we start? Right. What is x to the 4th divided by x squared? And then we multiply. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. And x squared times negative 5 is negative 5x squared. So because it's an x squared, what term do you think we should line it up with? The other x squared term. So really we should put this negative 5x squared below the 4x squared. And there is a placeholder of 0 between them. There's nothing there. So now we subtract. X to the fourth minus x to the fourth is 0. Negative 3x cubed minus 0 is still just negative 3x cubed. And 4x squared minus negative 5x squared is beautiful, 9x squared. And then bring down the next term, negative 2x. And what is negative 3x cubed divided by x squared? Negative 3x. Negative 3x times x squared is? And negative 3x times negative 5? Positive 15x, which we line up with the other x term, and there's a 0 for the x squared term. And then we subtract here. So negative 3x cubed minus negative 3x cubed is 0. 9x squared minus 0 is just 9x squared. And negative 2x minus 15x is negative 17x. Right? The negative makes that a negative 15. So negative 2 minus 15 is negative 17x. And you bring down your last term. 9x squared divided by x squared is 9. 9 times x squared is 9x squared. 9 times negative 5 is negative 45. And we're subtracting. And there's a placeholder of 0 for the x. So 9x squared minus 9x squared is 0. Negative 17x minus 0 is just negative 17x. And 1 minus negative 45 is a positive 45. Oh, thank you.
I was like 45.
46. So, can you divide negative 17x by x squared? No. So this is our what? Remainder. So my answer is x squared minus 3x plus 9 plus negative 17x plus 46 over x squared minus 5. So let's just get right into synthetic division. We're going to be doing the exact same problems. So the first thing you do is create an upside down division house that is 2 stories tall. So you can fit 2 rows of numbers inside of it. Now what you do here is you're only looking at the coefficients on each one of these terms. So what is the coefficient on x cubed? 1, so you put a 1 in that very first slot. And what's the coefficient on 2x squared? 2. And the coefficient on negative 7x? It looks like it, but it's nothing like it. And negative 2, we just put a negative 2. Now, one of the reasons why synthetic may become tricky for you guys is because you have to remember that when you're using synthetic, you're not dividing by the factor, you're dividing by the root. So if the factor is x minus 2, what is the root at x minus 2? So we're dividing by a positive 2. And that's what goes on the outside. Okay, so now it's just a simple step process to find your answer. You bring down this first number, bring it down and put it outside underneath your division box. Then you multiply, ooh, bless you. Multiply 2 times 1, and what do you get? 2. And you place that 2 back inside underneath your next term. Then you're just combining. So what's 2 plus 2? 4. And then you just repeat. What's 2 times 4? So you put that inside. What's negative 7 plus 8?
1.
Then what's 2 times 1? And what's negative 2 plus 2?
Wait, this is
0. And that's your remainder, which there isn't one. So we just divided a single x out of an x to the 3rd power, right? So how many x's should we have? 2 left. So our first term is 1x squared plus 4x plus 1 with no remainder. Is that not what we got above?
so easy.
That is exactly what we got above.
How did you get the x squared? How did you get the x squared? Oh, because it's never mind. Wait.
That was way easy.
Any questions on this? Now, the trick is, like, look at the second one. You cannot use synthetic whenever you have a coefficient on the first term of your divisor.
What if we do? Will it be wrong?
What?
If you do, will it be wrong?
Yes. Because, and the reasoning behind this is exactly what Cole was saying, right? In order to get the root here, we would have to subtract, and this was actually minus 5. Or plus 5, right? We changed it. We would have to subtract 5 over and then divide by 2. Well, what is this now? It's a fraction. So you cannot actually divide out a factor of negative 5/2. It's not really a factor, is it? So that's why you cannot use synthetic division here.
Wait, what?
All of a sudden, I do not feel good.
Like you're gonna throw up.
Yes.
Oh, please go to bed.
Okay, so you guys try to do this next one.